Hey guys, you're watching Daniel and Gian talk, and today we're going to be doing a full review of the feature film Two States, starring Alia Bhatt. But before we get started, I know that nepotism and a lot of crazy stuff has happened in Bollywood since this whole pandemic has started, since we've been on hiatus.
I mean, since the beginning of time, but
you guys have sent us articles. You guys have asked us questions for months now about our opinions and how we feel about what's going on with Sushant Singh and everything. So we're gonna talk about that on another day. Actually, we're gonna give you a date, and we're gonna fulfill that date, November 10th. So right now we're recording this November 3rd. This is probably gonna drop in a couple days, but November 10th, be on the lookout
for a reaction hour, special edition reaction hour. We'll talk all about this. So if you tuned into this review to hear us shit on them for that reason, this is not going to be the episode for you. No. November 10th. We're going to stick to the movie and strictly to the movie for this review.
But before we get started, just want to remind you guys to let us know what you'd like us to review in the comment section, and we will definitely take them into consideration. But let's get started.
2014, I like to call this movie Love After Two Dates, because that's all it took for them to get into this entire romantic saga, quote unquote, for lack of a better word.
Well, it's produced by one of our favorites, Karan Johar. You know, we have a lot of glowing things to say about him. I don't know who directed this.
The one who directed Kalank, which is the worst movie of 2019. And that's for all movies that I saw in 2019, not just
okay.
Indian. Yeah.
Is it Abhishek Varman?
Yeah, starring Alia Bhatt and the terrible Arjun Kapoor. Actually, as a matter of fact, watching Arjun makes me realize, like, man, if only I was born to the right rich family, I could have had an acting career, because I could do everything. Because I could do everything he did, except for have a chiseled chin and a nice body. Besides that, I mean, you watched the film. Did you see anything that Arjun brought to the table that I wouldn't be able to bring to the table in terms of conveying emotions?
I mean, I don't even know if I would say like a chiseled body, because I don't remember seeing him with his shirt off, to be honest with you. I feel like he was just tall, skinny guy. So
better shape than me. We'll concede with that.
Fair enough. Not a stretch. There's this whole anger with his father, and I feel like, was he mad at his father because he slapped his mom that night? Or?
I was mad at his mom.
Yeah, his mom
for existing. Actually, to be honest with you,
his mom had some issues, but I felt like, you know, part of the problem with Krish, Arjun's character, was that I think he was just like really jealous of his dad.
He was a simp.
Yeah, a little bit, and you know,
his dad
was like. His dad. Hey, I got some. Let me get this out. I just want to let everybody know where I stand. His dad was a manly man, good-looking dude, better looking than his son, and it felt like there was this whole, like, you know, this clash, because he's like, look what happened. I came out with a pussy for a son.
That simp slapped me. How does that make me feel?
I can't stand it. Exactly.
A simp slapped me. What is this? And then he turned to drinking. That's what it was. He was so depressing. He was so caught aback
because, you know, he got soft in his old age. I want to start off with the stuff that I liked about the film. And it wasn't necessarily the film itself, but it was the observation of us as outsiders, once again looking at the cultures, the different cultures in India, separated by state, even not even religion this time around, but by the states. I enjoyed that aspect so much, because sometimes we forget when we're this far away, we like to lump everybody together as one, even though it's the second largest country in the whole goddamn world. You know, we forget over here because we only see the stereotypes on television. When I say we, I mean the collective we, as in the United States. So even us, people that are like learning about the culture and have been like immersed in it a little bit through film now for the past few years, you know, sometimes we forget. And that was refreshing to me to see, like, this, how different it was for either culture, either the states, because they're so separated by mileage as well. And like the racism involved, mostly almost 100% from the Punjab family. You know, that I found that interesting. Like, whoa, you know, sometimes we forget here that the stuff that we go through is also going on in every other country in one way or another. So it was cool seeing that, because that was, for me, that was the biggest part of the film, was this culture clash and how either family wasn't like willing to accept the other, but mostly Chris's family, because they were fucked up. They had their own. They had a lot of
the mom
internal
was
issues.
fucked up. I don't even know about the dad to say he was fucked up, to be honest with you.
And we didn't learn enough about the dad to know why the underlying issues were there, because it was never explained. Like, he kept on mentioning, like, I don't like your mom's family, your mom's family and I don't get along. His mom was always mentioning, all the stuff I've taken about your father, this and that, but we never get what it is, other than he's kind of a dick.
No, I think it's the mom, dude. I think the mom is so out there that it's that, because that's all we're presented in their relationship when you think about it. I mean, really, you get to see how terrible she is. I thought. But
do you think that
was terrible?
Do you think that's what the screenwriter and the director wanted to convey?
Absolutely not. It's based on a book, so I'm sure this is probably something that got hopefully left, on the page of the book. I'll give the author of the story credit for at least, probably filling those details out in a book. But some things get lost in a movie. I actually was annoyed by the over sensationalization. I mean, I won't know this because I'm not Indian or I don't live there, but I actually just felt like it was just stereotype after stereotype. I didn't feel like this was anything that was probably realistic, quote unquote. It almost felt like someone from Texas going to California, and it's like a white family from Texas going to a black family from like California, and they're like, oh, look at these darkies. I mean, literally, I'm not saying that they wouldn't say this stuff, but to say it to their face and to be so like, I mean, obviously you have the language thing, and I'm gonna take a stretch here that you didn't know when they were speaking Hindi or Tamilian, other than the context of the scene where they kind of basically said like, what are they saying? Like, for me, I had no idea. I couldn't tell the difference between the two languages because I'm not, trained.
My ear's not picking that up yet.
Exactly. So, but still, something just felt like false about it. But it's a movie though, right? Like, that's the whole point. It's supposed to just
and
bring tension.
To be fair, this stereotype of this strong, pushy, overbearing Punjabi woman is not the first time we've seen this on screen. We've actually seen it multiple times. Someone from Punjab is presented in a film, they're kind of presented that way. So there's definitely a cultural stereotype from that region going on, and it wasn't foreign to me because of what I've seen before in other films. Like, it felt the same way. Like, off the top of my head, Chak De India, the big, strong Punjabi girl, she was portrayed that way, right off the bat.
I'm not saying it's not real, as in it doesn't exist.
Right. Well, all I'm saying is there's a bit of consistency with people that are from that state, the way they're characterized.
I think it felt, what it was? I think it felt more shallow. I think it felt sensationalized because it was so shallow.
Right.
It was never rooted in anything. There was never, it just always like, oh, they're dark. I mean, literally, Krish's mom said that like more than any other thing. Like,
right.
They're dark, and all I care about is the dowry, that stuff at the end. It felt very one-dimensional. I guess that's the biggest issue. And then when these characters decided to be two-dimensional, three-dimensional, it was like, where is this coming from? Like, why, at the end of the movie, why did the mother decide to have an about face and change her opinion about this whole situation? There's a moment, like, you could watch it and pinpoint it and say, at 2 hours and 10 minutes, this scene happens, and then that's when she switches. But like, nothing led to that, nothing built to that. Like, there's nothing in the mother's character, for me personally, that I saw that would make me feel like she cared more about her son and her son's happiness than anything else. That like she says at the end.
I think the problem as well, for me and possibly for you, was another consistency issue where I don't know who was supposed to be the villain in this film, because I don't think the Southern family really did anything wrong other than when they first met, they were a little like arrogant, or
I wouldn't even call it that. It's just it's kind of realistic, right? Like, if when your son gets old enough and he brings someone over, it's going to be kind of like, you're not going to say, come in, move in, marry, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's kind of normal. And I did like that about the movie, that at least it took the time to to develop that relationship. You know, you get to see them, like, to see him trying and to win over the father, and then the mother, and then the brother, and then, you know, the whole family eventually gets won over, leading to him doing the ultimate simp move and proposing to the entire family, and not just her, but to all of them.
See, I thought that was cute.
It is cute. I'm just saying, it is the ultimate simp move to, like, do the dad's work, to get the mom in a singing competition, to tutor the brother after he tutored his wife, like, for nothing, and then he buys each of them a ring, and then asks the hand for all of them.
I mean, I think the issue here is,
I don't know who the villain was either, to go off your point. I think it's the parents at first, and then
the villains were supposed to be his parents and their toxic relationship with him and with each other.
And then it became the culture as the villain.
Yeah, but the way they went about it was just not good at all. Especially, I mean, it just wasn't executed properly, because there is that scene where he, like, tells his mom to fuck off and his dad to fuck off. Like, well, we only see him telling his dad to fuck off in the flashback, really. He just kind of says, don't talk to me, with Pops. But, like, you can see Pops is trying, but he's also pretty stubborn himself. But he's trying. He's just like, he's in a glass case of emotion. But his mom, like, there was that scene where he tells his mom, like, you know, you don't care about anybody but yourself, kind of deal. I think that was supposed to be the turning point right there. However, they didn't build mom enough to make her this, like, overbearing. I mean, she was overbearing, but she wasn't overbearing enough, I guess.
She was that's all she was overbearing. So there's no contrast.
But she wasn't the monster. That's the issue. She wasn't the monster. Because
I thought she was a monster. Because I didn't see any contrast. Like, I didn't see her do anything but be that way. So,
well, I disagree, and I disagree because at the beginning of the film, you see that his dad being a dick and him, like, defending his mom, like, his mom.
Yeah, but what do you see the mom do?
But you make it makes it look like the dad's abusive, and that's why he's standing up for his dad.
That's sympathy, not empathy, right? We don't want to sympathize with her. We want to empathize with her, and she does nothing to make me feel empathetic about her.
Right, but I think that doesn't happen till later. I think it starts off like that. It's a trick. And it's shallow, like you said already. It was a shallow character move, but it was an attempt at the beginning, and then it never went through. It never got fulfilled. That's I guess what my issue is. Like, the more we see mom by herself, we're kind of like, oh, this lady's kind of crazy and a bit of a bitch. But when the dad's in the scene, that goes away. Like, he vacuums that away. So it's like. And I think maybe if we'd explain why he has such a huge issue with his dad a little better, or what her issue with the dad is,
or at all,
you know, because or they had, like, this sit down moment where, like, hey man, your mom's fucking crazy, all right, and I'm sorry I've been a dick to you for most of your life.
Just watch
exactly. I don't want to be here. That's why I'm never home. I'm never home because I can't stand this woman, all right, and, you know, I'm Catholic, so, you know, I stick to my vows, you know, but at the same time, you know, if she ends up dying, you know,
till death do us part, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go to some positives because I did actually enjoyed the performance of Alia Bhatt a lot. Actually, I thought she was the glue to the film. She's what kept me interested, and, you know, going to the next moment-to-moment stuff. I kind of wish that there was a flip in the half at the midpoint to maybe focus on her more and her trials and tribulations of trying to gain the parents' trust. You kind of get a half attempt at that, which is kind of what was so disappointing, because you spend the first half of the movie with her family, and you see Arjun's character trying to win the family over there back, I should say. But then when it flips roles, you get one cooking scene, which is nice, you know, where she burns whatever she's trying to make. And then the dad comes, and then she goes scuttled off, and then they go to a wedding, which is a weird scene as well. That whole dowry scene, which could have been interesting for me, but then turned into, like, I couldn't buy it.
It was definitely over the top.
Oh, they expected a bigger car because they had a big key. Like, okay, that was funny. All right, I'll go along with that gag, right?
It was just like waiting. It was like just working its way towards a fat joke that never paid off.
And she tried to. She humiliated the son, the groom, at his own wedding in front of everybody. That actually I didn't believe. That she was like, how much money do you make? Like, whatever, and she put him in his place, and I make double the amount, blah 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 blah, and like she made him like, didn't you win the lottery by wearing this, girl? Blah blah, the stuff she told him at the end, and I'm just like, what? You're gonna go to his wedding and do this around his whole family, and no one's gonna say anything? Now, I've never been to an Indian wedding, but I've seen a lot of movies.
Maybe they all knew that he was a fat little mama's boy bitch.
And they were like, finally.
Yeah, fine. Damn, somebody got balls now. All right, that's what's up. And mom knew it too,
But she still acted like a jerk.
Guy was a chunky monkey, Yeah, and then he had to stand up for himself.
No, she acted like, the mom still acted
like
a jerk.
Yeah, the mom was like, hey, but we want a bigger car. He's like, no, mom. Let me stand up for myself. I enjoyed the film for all the. I'm gonna
be honest. I didn't have a problem with it either.
I had a good time watching it. Like it was fine. It had its moments.
I was drawn in.
Was it a good film on an execution level? No, but.
Well, I think on the simple level, their relationship worked. You believed our lead's relationship, and I think that's the most important. Even though it kind of started weird, like. He started tutoring her, and then within 2 dates, they get together one night, and then he loves her and tells her he loves her. And then it takes her 2 years to tell him that she loves him, which was like, oh, okay, I guess that's how it's going to go out, And then it just goes play to the simp narrative more.
But these are things we've seen in every Indian film we watch. Like this isn't.
I know.
This isn't new. Like the romance doesn't get developed. This is.
Hey man, I still need to complain about it. Otherwise, how is it going to get changed, right?
Fair enough.
But overall,
I want to know what. Okay. The mom was racist, right? Like she had her fucking.
At least culturist, because I would argue that they're all Indian. So.
Fair enough. Culturist, sure. That's a new one. But I don't understand what Pops' issue was. Like why he got so angry that she was there. Or that if that was a control thing too. Was that telling us like, hey, I want to have a say in something in my fucking life because my wife fucking is like overbearing and takes control of everything.
I think the dad wanted to choose the wife because he wanted to make sure his son didn't get married to a woman like that. I'm serious. No, I mean. Who knows? Maybe that's exactly what it is in the book, but they took that part out because it's too negative.
Right.
I mean, I really don't know. There's nothing in the story that could make me speculate otherwise either. Like, my assumption is not one that can't be argued for. You know what I mean? Like, I could totally make an argument that's probably that's the reason for him.
You totally could.
Because there's just nothing there. I mean, at all. I mean, we don't see him being abusive either, really, to be honest with you. I mean, like... No. What I mean is like, is it Rook? Was it Rook? One of the movies you actually see like straight up just time after time. Maybe it was a different movie we watched. But there's no continued behavior that we see in the past or anything like that. Like it doesn't build anything up to like, okay, this is his clear behavior. We just know he has a drinking problem, really.
Right.
And he's a little bit
of a dick. And it's her fault.
Yeah.
She fucking drove him to drinking.
Potentially.
I mean, we could have seen a little bit more. Where's my dinner, bitch? We didn't get that at all.
Not once. No dinner plates being thrown. None of that.
He likes to drop his glass. He likes to break glasses, and then she cleans it up. And then he's like, "No, mom, I'll clean it." And she's like, "No, son. What if you cut your feet or some shit like that?"
And he's like, "But I'm a simp. I'll do it." And then she's like, "Yeah, you're right. Go ahead." And that was the end of the scene. That was in the outtakes. That was in the part you didn't see.
But there was little things. Like this is an assumption as well, but people from Punjab expect gifts from their guests, and vice versa. Like when they visit you, they bring gifts, kind of deal. That's kind of cool to learn. There was a little moment where the dad was like, "Listen, I can't let you marry my daughter because we're simple folk, and we don't want her to get hurt. This, that, or other. Like because he saw like." I guess he knows how people from that region are, so he's like, I don't want that for my daughter. You seem like a nice dude, but, I think your family's going to be too much. Because at no point did I see them ever being, like, rude to him.
No, they were just very reserved, like, at
Yeah,
no
they were
point were they rude
conservative.
at all.
They're
They were just
they
really
were-
nice.
Yeah, very conservative, just very polite, educated. You know, that was one of my favorite lines when Mom was getting fucking loud in the restaurant, and Pops was like, "Hey, we're educated people. You don't have to yell," which got her even more pissed off. But it was true. Like, he was like, "Bitch, you're acting out right now. You know, we don't need to get hood up in here. We're not hood people. You know, don't make me call the cops. I will go Karen on that ass." Johar.
I don't disagree with what you just said, to be honest. I appreciated the Southern parents, but like I said, that also has to do with because they had screen time. You know, more screen time to do other things than just be negative. They actually did other things. I mean, the best moments for me were like the moments that I wish there were more of in terms of they were expanded. They were a little bit longer. Like after Arjun has been going into the family's house or whatever, and then finally the dad shares a drink with him, and he lets him sleep over or whatever. That was a nice little scene that could have been longer. That's when
pajamas too.
Yeah, exactly. And he falls asleep, and you know, blah blah blah. Like that was a nice moment. That's a moment I liked, but you never got that moment between Arjun's mother and Alia Bhatt's character. You never have the, you know, so you get one side, but not really the other side,
and you get the father's redemption moment, which happened from miles away.
I don't even understand how that even made sense. I mean, first of all, the mom's been lying to the parents every single time, saying he has a heart condition, can't travel, can't do this, right? So,
but they know. They know.
Maybe we assume.
They say it. There's a commentary that's made, you know, between, it wasn't necessarily the mom and dad, but like their relatives were like, "Oh, father can't even show up to this, whatever." Like they make a comment about it.
But I don't know if they know the reason. You know what I mean? I don't know if they know, because that's never really. But either be it as it may, we never see that scene, right? And it's held back for dramatic purposes. But I'm just like,
it's a surprise. It's supposed to be a twist.
But I'm just like, why? I want to see that moment. That's the moment I want to see. That's the moment where I'm going to see the father actually probably earn his growth, earn that moment. Like, he's probably going to have to tell the people why I'm like this or what the hell happened, right? So that might be the moment to insert the growth or the development, the depth of the character right there.
I mean, I guess the justification would be that it wasn't his movie. It wasn't Alia Bhatt's movie either. And it was supposed to be Krish's movie.
The justification is Indians like twists and surprises. That's what it is. That's literally what it is. They like that storytelling trope.
Sir.
They like that trope right there. There's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, you know, I watched this movie.
But how much of a twist was it though? Because I wasn't surprised. Like I expected.
Hey,
I was waiting for the dad to do some sort of redemption moment.
You want to have my theory? I've told you this theory before, and the more surprised you are at the twist, the more of a blockbuster the movie becomes. And so this movie made money. It definitely was, but it didn't blow the houses down. It didn't become, you know, it was nominated for awards and all that stuff, but it didn't just skyrocket Arjun's career, you know. Like, for example, like Anadun. That was a big twist for people. That was a huge twist for people. That movie blew up, you know, because I think the twist is a big part of the storytelling. But this is also a love story, so like how much twist are you really going to get? But to the twist though, when the movie started, Netflix, you know, they did the parental guidance thing. It said like rated whatever for suicide, and I'm like, oh, someone's gonna kill themselves. So the whole time I'm watching the movie thinking that like someone's gonna kill themselves. That was a twist.
I was hoping. Look, when we were doing those flashbacks, because the movie was all a flashback. When we're going to the counseling scenes, I am like, at some point I was like hoping to God that Alia Bhatt's character died. And that's what happened, and that's why he was counseling. Yeah,
something like to earn those scenes,
like crazy like that. I was like, oh, at some point I was like, oh, I get it. Oh, she's dead. That's why they did get married, and then something happened. She died,
or maybe the mother died, or something. I was the whole time
I was waiting for this bit of darkness to redeem the film, and it didn't come.
No, it didn't come. And so it made the whole
and that was the twist I was expecting too. Like, oh shit, she's been dead the whole time, and that's why he's at counseling. You know?
That's another thing. I just that'll be the last thing I say about the narrative, because I've talked so much shit about it already. But the whole psychiatrist bit was annoying to me, because I did it not because of the guidance thing that I just said that popped up on Netflix, but because it served really no purpose other than to string along these events, which in my mind, if that's the case, why not you just have him write these things out? Why not just have those be the interstitial moments? Oh, because you want to have the twist that he wrote 2 states, the screenplay at the end of the movie, probably, right? But it's like, why show the psychiatrist stuff if it doesn't play into the narrative at all? It really doesn't, to be honest with you. It's like that interrogation stuff in an Indian Detective, where it felt like they filmed a lot of other stuff and they realized they couldn't bridge it all together, so they just made these like interstitial moments.
I think it's because they wanted to show his mouth moving and saying it rather than like voiceover of him writing. Who knows?
Maybe.
But almost there, but misses the mark. Didn't miss the mark completely, but had some redeeming. Because I
you
already
should
said,
answer that question, because you're the one who chose this movie. So did it live up to your expectations, or the reason?
You know, it's funny. I chose this movie because we did a reaction to the trailer, and link should pop up right now. We did a reaction to the trailer a long time ago, and the premise about 2 people from different states, completely different sides of the country, intrigued me. And that's why I wanted to watch it, because I wanted to see these like little cultural differences that and I already said it earlier in the review, but we as outsiders don't really know about. So I thought that would be kind of cool, even though obviously the actors themselves weren't from either of those states. But
but that's always the case, right?
That's neither here nor there. But that's what interested me, and that's why I wanted to see it. And I was like, oh, it's on Netflix, let's watch it.
Did it live up to that?
I think it did. That satisfied me. You know, even if it was like super stereotypical and whatnot, and we didn't really get the Southern stereotypes either, other than, you know, the long ass last name
and eating on leaves.
Right, which was like hella brushed over too. It wasn't even like, you know.
But I like that though. They're like, no, that's the plate. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
but I almost feel like he would know that. Like, I know that.
Hey, dude, it wouldn't surprise me. I think that was the point too. Like that these people up north are so arrogant that they have no clue about what people do down the south.
True.
You know, and if anything, that was an opportunity for him to like play it up and freak out a little bit. That would have been a comedic moment, you know, on the nose, but it still would have been a cheap laugh.
It wouldn't have been any less on the nose than the other things that were on the nose.
Exactly. So him like picking it up and kind of looking at it like, and then all of them are like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, what is this? What? You know, maybe he like puts it on his lap like he thinks it's a napkin or something like weird, just something stupid. Like, or he like takes a piece off and starts eating it, and they're like, "What are you doing? That's your plate." You know, that would have been funny, like, you know, but they didn't go for it, so it's fine. But yeah, for that aspect, it was fine. As you know, on a critical like structural level, had a lot of issues, not that great, but I didn't hate it. I had an okay time watching it. You know, there was that you know, I fast forwarded through all the songs, guys. By the way. Like I'm consistent with that as well.
It's okay. You didn't miss much except for montage, because the movie had a lot of it. So
well, that's what I do every time though. Like I give it a first few like 30 seconds, and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm not gonna watch this after that. But anyways, what do you want? Now your turn.
I watched it on one sitting, so you know it held my attention. I've seen maybe you can't say this yet, but I've definitely seen this movie before, and done by Indians as well. So for me, it's, you know, I'll forget about it in a few months, and it's one of those movies that I say I've seen, but didn't move me, didn't make me go, oh man, you know, this is the movie that people need to go watch when they have family dynamic, family dramas, whatever, XYZ, right? So to me, if I were to put a 1-sentence summary on it, it just goes to show you that Alia Bhatt can, you know, bring magic to something that's otherwise dull, I feel like. And nepotism or not, it doesn't matter. Sometimes talent is talent, right? So just certain things that you just can't really replicate, because she was one of the best parts in Kalank too, just to tie it all back together, because of her dancing and all that stuff. The movie sucked, the script sucked, the people who acted opposite of her, other than Sanjay Dutt, were pretty terrible, and the mother. But this is for Kalank, not this movie. But But yeah, no, that's it. I think I'd be more curious to hear what people in the comments have to say about the movie, though, and not just shitting on the actors because everybody involved is nepotism, but, just genuinely what you guys thought about the movie in 2014, because I'm sure that the haters of Alia Bhatt have seen this movie and maybe even liked it. So.
And that's that. And if you haven't watched our last review, we did a Shoka before this. Coming to realize that you guys aren't a big fan of that film. And that's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to tune in on Tuesday, November 10th, where we are doing a very special reaction hour in terms of nepotism in Bollywood. And we'll see you on the next one.